it's just like a sharp pain, and you can't properly breathe. You can imagine how, you just feel like out of breath. And it's just a really, really strong pain. And most of the time it comes and goes, in my case.
Okay.
Once I take like a painkiller, it goes for a bit. But then once the effect of the painkiller goes away, you start feeling that pain. And it's just a constant sharp pain that you feel in just one particular area. Body.
Wait, did you say constant? Like constant sharp pain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's like a strong crisis.
Yeah. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Annabelle and God bless you so much for tuning into my channel once again. So today I am joined by my sister Katney, and we're going to do something quite interesting today. Katney is going to share her story with us on what it's like to have sickle cell. So yeah, stay tuned and I hope you enjoy it. Welcome to my channel. I know you've been you've been on my channel before, but anyway, so would you like to introduce yourself and then we will start?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Katney. I'm a consultant in tax and I work in Deloitte. I'm Italian. I like to say that. I've got sickle cell disease.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about what it's like having sickle cell disease, and Katney has kindly offered to share her story with us. So I guess to start us off, the first question will be, what is sickle cell? So for anyone who may not know what it is, what is it?
So sickle cell, before I explain this, I'm not good with this medical terms, so okay. Please pardon me. But in summary, sickle cell is a blood disorder, and it affects the blood cells. So normally, everyone would have healthy blood cells that are round shaped and they're very flexible. But patients with sickle cell disease, we have like a C-shaped blood cells, and they're quite rigid.
Okay.
So, and compared to a healthy one, our blood cells die very, very quickly. So we are constantly producing them, and most of them are not healthy ones. And the side effect of that is that as the red blood cells are meant to transport oxygen to the rest of the body, our red blood cells, because they're rigid, they can't flow properly through our blood vessels.
Okay.
So then they get stuck. And once they get stuck, the blood cannot flow as it should be. And that causes pain. One, because you can imagine there's like pressure pushing the blood to flow, and that causes pain. That's what we call sickle cell crisis.
Right.
And that is like a painful episode. Okay. And there are two types, actually there are three types, but there are two types that I know of. There is SS and SC. And I have SC. It's a mild form of the sickle cell.
Okay. So you have SC, form of sickle cell. So what does that mean? Does that mean that yours is lesser than?
Yeah, it's a mild form of it. The SS is more severe because you have both the sickle genes. Instead, I have the S gene, which is the sickle gene, and then I have the C, which is the abnormal hemoglobin.
Okay.
Gene. Yeah. So it's just a bit better.
So how does one get sickle cell? Like, how is it like a genetic disorder?
Genetic one, yeah. So you get it from. It depends on the genes of your parents. So I don't know who I got what from, but I know that I got the C from my mom. So they both are sickle cell traits. They both have sickle cell traits. Okay. So I took one gene from my mom and one gene from my dad.
Right. Okay.
So now I think at those times they were not doing the sickle cell checks where you could, before you get pregnant, you can tell whether the baby would have sickle cell or not. Obviously now they do it. Thankfully, but these times no one cared.
Okay. All right. So I mean, obviously, because I'm your friend, I know how the pain is when you have a crisis. But can you tell us how it's like to have a crisis?
I don't know how to describe the pain. I think every crisis is different.
Okay.
Every crisis is different. I've had crises where, as you know, I've been able to manage at home. I'll just take some paracetamol, ibuprofen, and I'll be fine the next few hours.
Yeah.
But there are sickle cell crises that are very intense.
Mm-hmm.
And that is more when, in my case, I'll just say for myself, that's when your blood count is very low. So then the pain becomes so severe because your body is really trying to get your blood flowing. And it normally affects a joint. Like most of the times, it is my leg, my back, my arm, or my chest. And the most painful one is your chest and your back. It's just like a sharp pain, and you can't properly breathe. You can imagine how, you just feel like out of breath. And it's just a really, really strong pain. And most of the time it comes and goes, in my case.
Okay.
Once I take like a painkiller, it goes for a bit. But then once the effect of the painkiller goes away, you start feeling that pain. And it's just a constant sharp pain that you feel in just one particular area body.
Wait, did you say constant sharp pain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's like a strong crisis.
Yeah. And I think for me, because I've actually seen you in a crisis before, like I'm just kind of like, I want to know what's going through your head when you have a crisis. Like, so like you described it, being in that constant pain in that moment, what's going through your head?
I think, like I said, it just depends. So for example, I think you know this as well. I think that was my major crisis. In 26 years of my life, I've never had such a big crisis. That was back last year, August, September time. And it was really big. It started from my chest and my back, and I could barely move. I remember that the paramedics came and they told me to stand up, and I couldn't stand up because I couldn't just move. You can just feel something that is so sharp in your chest and your back.
Yeah.
And I honestly thought that day that I was dying because it was so strong. It was really, really strong. And I think that's what goes through my mind most of the times, that am I going to fight it? Is my body going to be able to fight this off and recover properly? Because you feel so much in pain. And most of the time with me, they normally give me morphine quite a lot because I'm in so much pain that I'll always be requesting for morphine.
Okay.
And when I had that crisis, it was so bad that they had to do a blood exchange.
Okay.
And what a blood exchange is, that they take your not good blood from your body and they give you clean blood. And that's really a long process.
Okay.
Mine lasted for about 2 hours, and it's not a nice process to go through because obviously, because a large amount of blood is going through your body, you need to get a good vein, a really big veins, and my veins are quite tiny, so once they get in, they break. So they had to put it in my neck. So being 2 hours, having a machine, you can see the machine there with the blood flowing. There's a lot that goes through your mind thinking, am I going to survive? Am I going to make it? But it just depends on the type of crisis you're having. There are times where it's a small crisis, then it's fine, it would go. But when it's like that strong one, what always goes through my mind, am I going to survive? Am I going to make it?
I don't know, that is a lot mentally to go through.
It is.
Because to have to kind of think of whether you're going to, in a way, basically kind of like die. It's, I don't know, but I can imagine that it can be mentally draining.
It is.
How do you, I don't know, like after a crisis, how do you normally kind of restore yourself mentally? Like how do you kind of get back into a mode where you're like, okay, I'm just gonna get on with life now? How do you do that?
I think now, because I've had it so many times, I've grown out of it, that it happens. This, unfortunately, this is what happens to my body sometimes. So I think my as much as it's always emotionally draining, I try not to think too much about it. Once I come out of the hospital, I just try to take care of myself, try not to get my body in a place whereby a crisis can happen again. But I remember when I was younger, I think that was when I was about 9 or 10 years old. That was my first huge crisis. That was my first blood exchange.
Okay.
And the fear on my parents' face, the fear on the doctor. I think that's the thing that sometimes scares me the most when I'm having a crisis. Is the scare that is on their face. Because obviously I can't see myself. I know that I'm going through pain, but they are the doctors. And when they have that face, it sort of makes you also scared. Because
it's not promising, is it?
Yeah, it's not promising. I remember that crisis was huge, and my skin was peeling off because my blood was very low. I was constantly doing a blood transfusion. Like the blood was on me every day. And that was not enough because still my blood was very low. So they had to do a blood exchange. And things were still not improving. My whole body animal was peeling off. My doctors were like, they don't know what's going to happen now. They've done all the best. So they think I'm not going to survive. And literally my face, because they're telling my parents in front of me. And I think that was the time I realized that, okay, this is serious.
Yeah. This
is serious. I think it's what scares me the most is what the doctors say most of the times. Yeah. It's just the scare that they have, the fear that they have that, okay, this is huge. This is something that we've not seen before. This is something that we cannot manage. Yeah. Then that also gives you sort of panic. You're just thinking, oh, okay, am I really going to survive? Am I going to make it?
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, like you said, now that you've grown up, I guess you've kind of been able to develop like coping mechanisms for it. But when you were younger, were there any times, I mean, aside from the first time you had like your first blood transfusion, was there a time when you were just like, I'm probably like going to die? Or were there ever a time when you thought you may not live to this point where you are now?
That was that time.
Okay.
That's the time I had a crisis. Yeah. I think everyone, I remember my parents were surprised. The church was surprised because everyone thought I had been there for a long time. And because sickle cell are treated in the hematology department. Mm-hmm. And that is also divided with cancer patients.
Okay.
So the hospital I was in Italy, there was a section that was just for sickle cell, let me say. There was another section that was just for cancer patients. So people cannot go there as often as they would come to those that have sickle cell. And they had moved me there. So once they moved me there, my mom was like, that's it. Because they always thought that in the moment they move you there, that means that it's serious. And for me, seeing my mom, how scared she was, how she was crying, made me realize that, okay, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And that was just nice. So I didn't really understand what was going on. Yeah. All I could know that I was just in pain. And people around me were so scared. Yeah.
It's really a lot to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, like, I mean, I know I keep saying it, but like, I feel like because I've seen you in times when you've been in like a lot of pain, but then you've come out of it and then you've just kind of like got on with life. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'm just like, she's actually dealing with this, you know, like it happens and then she goes through this severe pain for days sometimes. Mm-hmm. And then the pain goes and then she gets up and get on with her life. Like what's your biggest drive like in life? What really like keeps you going in life? Like aside from knowing that you have sickle cell, what's one thing that always is like your drive to wake up in the morning and get on with it? Like even though you know that you could have a crisis at any point.
I think my biggest drive is my mom.
Okay.
I think the person that has always had to cope with me having a crisis being my mom. And knowing all the sacrifice that she had to do, you know, because obviously she had to take so many time off just to stay with me, stay in the hospital with me, you know, take care of me. There are so many things that she had to let go. There's so many times where when my dad was not understanding what I was going through, she was always there on my side defending me. So seeing what my mom went through because of me, I would say, always pushed me that, you know, I should try and do what I can and achieve whatever I want to achieve in order to give a good life after. And that is literally something that even the times whereby, you know this, when I'm having a crisis and I'm having all sort of thoughts, my mom comes to mind, and I'm just like, Katney, I know it's hard, but it's for the sake of your mom, keep pushing.
Yeah. I think your mom,
she doesn't know this.
Bless her, she's it's good. She's the drive, literally. I don't even know her that well, and I know that she's the drive because she's had to take a lot in it. I guess she's had to basically kind of like put her life on hold to make sure that we're okay.
Basically.
Yeah. And I think that's what mothers do, really. When you think about it, that's
true.
Kind of their job in a way. But okay, so I know that you've achieved a lot, like so far in your life. You've achieved a lot, whether you want to admit it or not, you have. And I know Katney did it. She probably didn't specify it well earlier, but she's a tax consultant or whatever you call it at her workplace, and she's very smart. By the way, she's really, really smart.
I'm not.
So I guess my next question would be, has there ever been a time when you felt like because you have sickle cell, you can't do something?
I think when I was younger, yes. Now that I'm a bit older than before, no. I've realized that, yes, I have some limits. Yes, I can do certain things that other people can't do. My body cannot physically do it.
Okay.
But that can stop me from doing what I need to do. And I think because of that, it has changed my mindset to just always work hard. Even when I don't have to work hard, I'm always working hard for it. Just because I feel like I never know when I'll have a crisis. So I just prepare in advance all the time. You will know, like the hours I will spend studying. It's just because you never know when you can have a crisis, So I'm always trying to do my best when I can. But growing up, the only fear I had was whether me taking time off if I was sick, me having to take time off for hospital appointment would interfere with my career, whether my employer would be happy with it, because not everyone would really allow it or would understand, especially if I'm in a hospital. I may end up being there for like maybe 10 days, 1 week, so that would take me 2 weeks off from work. So that was the fear I had, whether employers would understand. But by the grace of God, every place I've been to, people were always understanding, and they were happy to support me whenever I had to take time off. So we
thank God for that.
Introducing Roots Shea Butter UK. From the crowns of the ultimate shea nut trees in northern Ghana into whipped shea butter packaged in style for your taste. Stand up tall and proud, sink your roots into the earth and be content with your natural beauty. Our brand of shea butter called Roots is in honor of our roots and helps achieve skin and hair goals wherever you are in this universe. Shea butter has always been used over the centuries to moisturize the skin, treat skin conditions, nourish the hair, and massage the body. The skin and hair loves the added twist that Roots Shea brings into the market. Our shea butter consists of 95% of organic oil from Africa and 5% of essential oils such as baobab oil, argan oil, tea tree oil, sandalwood oil, and rose oil. It comes scented in lemongrass or lavender, or unscented. Whether you are in the Arctics, tropics, or in between, fall on Roots Shea Butter UK for your skin and hair maintenance. Roots Shea Butter, buttering your skin and nourishing your hair.
I know you mentioned earlier that you have some, like there are some limits. There are things that you cannot physically do. Would you mind sharing like what is like one thing that maybe I do, or maybe a lot of young women take? We do those things without even thinking about it that you can't do because you have sickle cell.
So and I think every sickle cell patient have their triggers.
Okay.
And my triggers, I can't deal with cold.
Cold.
I can't deal with cold weather at all. I can't deal with physical stress. So I can run, but the way I'll be struggling compared to someone that, is so different. I remember that I went to the gym with a friend, and she was exercising, and she was like, "Why are you going so slow?" And I'm like, "You don't know what can happen if I don't take my time." And it has happened before. The first time I went to the gym, I wasn't aware that my body cannot take that's a level of exercise. I had a crisis straight at the gym, and my dad had to come and take me at the gym, and he took me straight to the A&E.
Okay.
So it's not like you can't do things, you can do them, but there is a limit to it. So every time my doctor will be like, exercise, but don't over exercise. Don't overdo it.
Okay. And I know Katney mentioned the cold thing, and it's very true, because I used to live with Katney. We used to live in the same house, and when it was winter time, and the minute someone turned the heater up, she would know straight away. And she would come out of her room and be like, "Someone turned the heater down," and then she would turn it right back up.
Even now, that is, you would think that it's warm. I had my heater on like an hour ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it just like any sort of cold?
Any sort of cold.
Okay.
Any sort of cold. And the moment I feel cold, I start feeling some pain. I'm like, okay, let me turn on the heater. And I think that's been one of the issues I've always had. Because even back home, my dad would not understand.
Yeah.
Because you see my little brother roaming around with a t-shirt and shorts, everyone wearing t-shirt. I'm just freezing because I'm cold. And I just don't want to put my body in a cold place, to have a crisis. So I would prefer to be warm.
Yeah, that's good. And I think for me, one thing that I really admire about you is how well you know your body. So like how you're able to kind of like, okay, this is what my body can go through, and this is what it can't take. And like you mentioned earlier, you're always prepared for that. And I think that's really good. I think, and I don't know, maybe it comes with age as well.
Yeah.
The older you
get,
does. Having had to live with it, eventually you get to a point where you're like, this is what I can take, this is what I can't. And you're very vocal about it as well.
Yes. I mean, I think it's just now, because when I was young, I would never say it. I would. I think maybe because I did not know. I think the first time I had a crisis was when my mom said I was 3, the first time I had a crisis.
Okay.
But until the age of, when I was 6, I went to Ghana. And I had a crisis. And you know how Ghana, they believe in Ibidro. I don't know the English term of that.
Herbal medicine.
That's the term. I had a crisis, and normally it was my leg. I don't know, they put some herbs on my leg and they bandaged my head so tight. And I don't know. You can't understand the pain I was going through. Like, you guys are not helping here. You're not helping. It was so tight. But even then, I didn't know what it was, to be honest. Because my mom always called it rheumatism. I mean,
rheumatism?
Yeah. When I'm too.
Is that like Sasabro?
Yeah, but that's not it.
Okay.
That is not it.
I don't think Sasabro is sickle cell.
No, it's not. But until, honestly, they always called it like that.
Oh, okay.
They always called it that way, because I don't think they were very aware of sickle cell.
Right. Okay.
They were treating me as if I had
It may have some links to it. I don't.
There's no link. It's just because it's body pains. There's no link.
Right. Okay.
But the only time I realized I have something was when I was 8. And I was really skinny, even though now I don't look skinny.
I was really skinny.
I know, when we see some pictures, you would not recognize me. And obviously, when you are young and you are skinny, you don't care.
Yeah.
All I thought is that my mom always complains I don't eat vegetarian, so that's it. But I didn't think there was something wrong with me. That's why I was skinny.
Okay.
But one time I went to church, and someone, she was my age, maybe 2 years older than me. She was like, why are you so skinny? You have HIV. And I was like, I was, honestly, that day I cried.
Oh.
That's when I realized that, oh, I had to say that. I mean, I didn't even know what HIV is, but you know, at the time, you would always see those adverts on the television. So I had an idea that was something. I didn't know what it was, but I knew that it was something.
Yeah.
That's when I went home and asked my parents, what do I have? Someone said I have HIV. Is it true? And they were just so shocked because where did we hear that from?
Yeah.
You know? I think that's when I realized that, oh, I have a disease. That's why I look skinny. And at that time, I would never tell anybody that I have sickle cell. Wow. There's no way I'll come and tell you that I have sickle cell. It's just now that I think I've become more aware of it and more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to share it.
Wow, that's really a lot. I know I keep saying this a lot because I feel like because I've known you for all this time, and I've kind of seen you during certain like difficult times, and for me I think you're really strong. Like I said earlier, you kind of, it happens, and then when you're fine, you just get up and get on with it, and you're brave. Yeah. I know you're a Christian, and I just want to know how being a Christian has either helped you or not helped you deal with having sickle cell.
It has helped, to be honest, because that is the time whereby I actually realized that when I'm having a crisis, I really struggle to pray to God. I never blame him, but that's when I question him.
Mm.
Yeah, I question him just because, you know, it's something that you pray about every day, something that you ask God to heal you every day.
Yeah.
And when you have such big crisis, that you start questioning God, are you not hearing my prayers? But at the same time, if I did not have God, I think it would have been harder for me to go through a crisis and come out of it as I do. You know, it just gives me that confidence that God will take you through. So even in the moments where it feels like there is no hope, even in the times where doctors are saying what they are saying, I have someone bigger than them encouraging me, telling me that he will take me through it. I personally think it will be hard to have sickle cell without God, honestly. There's going to be times you're going to be questioning him. I mean, I do a lot, but it will be harder to go through it without God.
I think it's difficult to go through
anything
without God. So I agree with you. Okay, thank you for sharing so much with us today. I think my last question would be, how would you, or like what advice would you give to maybe like a younger person, a younger girl who has sickle cell, or maybe even someone your age who has sickle cell, maybe who's struggling to kind of deal with it? Because like you've been explaining, it's a lot to go through, and I think sometimes maybe someone may feel like because they have sickle cell, they are not able to achieve a lot, or they're not able to get far in life, and you've achieved a lot and you are still achieving a lot. So what would you say to encourage someone who has sickle cell, and how would you encourage that person?
What I would say is that don't ever feel like you are odd. I used to feel that way. I felt like I was different. I was the odd one among my friends, but you are not. You are just special. And if you're going through this, or if you have these disease, God knows that you can handle it. God knows that you have the strength for it. So as much as it's painful, as much as you're going to have painful episodes, as much as you may have times where you may doubt yourself, keep pushing. It gets better. It gets much better. And when people were saying that to me when I was young, I never believed that. You know, but if I look back, I look at myself now, I know that it definitely gets better. It definitely gets better. So keep pushing. Keep pushing.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think Katie and I will end it here. But like she said, I think if you have sickle cell, I think definitely what she said, like to keep pushing, because although it may get really challenging at times, and I mean, like I have witnessed with Katney, like at times when you will literally be in a crisis, but like she mentioned, keep pushing. And if you don't know God, maybe you need to get closer to God as well, because I feel like that would be a lot of help. Like
Definitely.
That would really help you through. So thank you all so much for staying with us through this, and I hope it helps someone. I hope it blesses someone. You can share it with others. If you know someone who has sickle cell, share it with them, and I hope that it will encourage them. God bless you all. Bye.
Bye.